So with that being said, we're going to be interviewing Contrelle Wright, author from Chicago, Illinois, about his book, How to Keep Your Man Happy. You got to keep your man happy. You got to. Ladies, you got to keep me happy.
You got to keep him happy.
You know what I mean?
It's all about you, Rob.
Well, it's not
Always
all
about Rob.
It's not all about
All
me.
about Rob.
No, well, you know, how to keep your woman happy too. That's what it's about too. So when we come back, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be interviewing him, author from Chicago. So stay tuned, guys. We're almost done with our 2-hour show. Psych word. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Psych Word. You are now on the couch with Rob Gerard, and on the phone right now, I have 25-year-old author from Chicago, Illinois, Contrelle Wright. Contrelle, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, sir. What about yourself?
Good, man. Good. Listen, I had a chance to read your book, okay? Your book was phenomenal. I loved it. Tell the listeners the name of the book and a little bit about it.
Okay. The name of my book is called How to Keep a Man Happy. And basically what I'm breaking down in my book is a better understanding of the men in my generation. I don't know what happened when Steve Harvey wrote his book. He did it. I feel like he did it for his generation, his era.
I agree. I would agree with you on that.
And I wrote this book for my generation because I feel like the men in my society is not what they were 50, 60 years ago because you have more men, you have more fathers around, disciplining them, showing them what a family foundation. And a lot of us as men now, growing up in my generation, growing up with a single mother in the home.
Yeah, I would agree. I've read both books. I read the Steve Harvey book and I read your book, and you could definitely tell that there's a generational difference. But I think that you make a lot of good points in your book, and we'll get into some of that in a little bit. But you talk about letting the man lead, and you talk about now. Let me backtrack for a moment. When did you start writing? How old were you? Because you're 25 now. So how old were you when you first began writing?
25.
Really? So you just started writing this year?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So what inspired you to pick up the pen and say, you know what, I'm going to start writing?
I'm to be honest with you. What made me write about this book, because due to my upbringing, I have been searching for love my whole life. Because I was searching, I went through several relationships with women, never understanding me. So the average female of my generation experienced growing up in a single-parent household as well in the Chicago area. So,
which for the listeners that don't know, sorry to cut you off. For the listeners that don't know, Chicago is a war zone.
Oh, yes.
I mean, everyone knows, man. I mean, Chicago is just, you guys will go through, you guys will have a 2-week period where there'll be like more murders than there's, so it's like, what it sounds like you're saying is you pretty much, were trying to do something positive, stay out of trouble.
Yes. Like I say, I'm 25. I grew up, what people might say, I grew up in the system. I came from a one-parent household. My mother took care of myself and 4 siblings. We lived in low-income housing. My mother received government assistance. And because of this, I wanted to change the cycle. So I'm a professional boxer. Also, I've been boxing for 17 years, about to be 18 years.
Really?
Yes, I've been on reality shows. I've done TV shows. My amateur record is 90 fights, 7 losses, 54 knockouts.
90 fights?
7 losses, 54 knockouts.
Hold on,
yes,
so
sir.
990 fights.
Yes, 9-0.
And you're only 25.
Yes, sir.
Wow, so many questions running through my head right now, but continue.
Okay, and like I say, Gatorade sponsored me. I lived in mansions. I lived a good life, and one of the strongest topics in my book Strong Mind, Strong Man, Chapter 4, support. And I felt like I never really had that support. And I made a lot of wrong decisions down that path. So I want ladies to understand, support your man, especially if you're doing something positive.
Yeah. So you're letting the women know, listen, you need to support your man. You need to build him up.
Yes, because you got most females tear their men down before they build them up.
Okay.
I don't want the women out there to seem like my book is about woman bashing, or I'm telling you do something wrong, because you got a lot of women out there going to judge the title, and it's not about that. You actually going to read this book with your husband or your boyfriend or your significant ones to understand, because women already know us as men don't open up already. So some men don't know how to open up and express their feelings, so they can compromise with each other reading this book.
So, in your opinion, what would your advice be to a man and a woman who are having, relationship problems, and the woman says, my man isn't opening up? My husband or my boyfriend, he doesn't want to talk. He never wants to talk about his feelings. He just yeses me to death. What would your advice be?
A men like that have been through some things in their life, And you gotta, one thing about a man, you gotta make them feel comfortable. You gotta know how to comfort us. You gotta let us know that you loyalty. We gotta be able to trust you, so we can, when we open up our feelings, we really mean it in what we say. So a lot of women out there don't take us men's feelings as serious as theirs.
So couldn't you argue, though, that the man should be doing that same exact thing to his woman?
Oh yeah, it's always a two-way street.
Okay.
It's always a two-way street.
So
it's always a two-way street.
Okay, so what you're saying is you're telling women you need to comfort your man, you need to build him up, but at the same time, are you also telling women, listen, you need to comfort your wife and you need to build her up?
Oh yes, because you do have men. You do have men out there tear their women down, and especially that's why I say I want men to read my book too. Don't just give it. Oh, you need to read this book. No, because like you say in chapter 2, letting men lead. A lot of men need to understand what the word means, lead, because a lot of men think lead is controlling her, telling her what to do this. No, it's not about that. It's about compromising, growing together, understanding. Don't go out and make a decision without each other. Come to agreement with each other,
Absolutely. So, because the title of that chapter, Let the Man Take the Lead, I mean, I get what you mean. You get what you mean. Men get what they mean. But what you're saying is, listen, women, don't get all worked up. This is a book you can read together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And, and yes, I do think that the stance I'm taking could rub women the wrong way.
Yes.
Because that's why I wrote this book, because like I said earlier, I felt like women didn't understand me. A good man want a strong woman that's independent, self-sufficient woman, a real man. We know these are great qualities in a woman, but the downfall of these qualities will keep a good woman from not allowing her role in a good relationship to be successful.
So let me
or
ask.
being just that woman.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what are some of the things that you feel like women don't know about men? What are some of the common sense things that, because men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We all know that. We think on two completely different levels and playing fields. What are some of the basic things that you think women just don't know about men that they should?
Okay, one of the things I talk about in my book, chapter 1, what women don't know. When you run across a bad man, he's not a bad man. You have to understand. Everybody have a role model in their life. Everybody. And you have to understand, when that man growing up, he already been programmed, especially if he was around men that treating females any kind of way. So now he programmed thinking this the right way because nobody ever taught him anything. So women need to understand, when you dating that man, you're just not dating him. You're dating him and every negative man that ever came across his life. and vice versa when you're dating a positive man.
Definitely. Well, you definitely make some good points. Chapter 4, Strong Mind, Strong Man. What can you tell us about that?
Strong man is support. I feel like, my generation, what I know, I don't know what happened 50, 60 years ago because I'm not that old, but in my generation, there's not a lot of women stand behind a man, especially a good man that's got something going for themselves. I feel like the women rather support the bad men, mess the critic up, put stuff all in their name, and stuff like that, and go the extra mile for that man than a man who got a future and a goal and wanna have success in life.
Now, what role do you think, if any, hip hop plays in the miscommunication of men and women?
Oh man, bad. Really, really bad. And that's why I feel like, a lot of us men now in my generation is living in a lie. And when I mean living in a lie, betraying their character, being someone they're not. And because it's always a two-way street. And the women in my society giving the men now the wrong appearance, the wrong attention. Like, okay, selling drugs is cool, or with your pants down is cool. And a man going to continue doing this because he thinks it's the right way. Because I was young before. I was 16 out there selling drugs, and I liked the attention. But that wasn't for me. It's a lane that everybody got to stay in. If you go to school and you're a nerd, cool. If you a lover and emotional man, cool. But I feel like a lot of women should love us just the way we are.
Now, Contrelle, this is DJ Chris Rush. I had a question for you. It seems like these days women like guys that are more not necessarily abusive to them, but don't treat them right instead of nice guys. Why do you think that is, and how do you think this book might overcome that?
The women in my society, my generation, they feel secure. I feel like they feel secure when a man beat on them, or then a man who's emotional. It doesn't mean because a man is emotional that we can't protect you or secure you. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes when you have a bad spirit or you have negative people around you in your ear, you can lose sight. And that's why it's important when you're in a relationship. It's about you and that person, not everybody in your business. When you got something good, you gotta take that. You gotta take that good and remove it from bad things, because sometimes bad things will mess up a good thing.
Yeah, and it's funny Chris Rush asked that because Chris, you just recently went through a divorce, right?
Yes.
So our very own DJ Chris Rush kind of went through a messy situation. I don't know if it was necessarily messy, but
it wasn't as messy as it could have been. She was actually pretty good throughout the process, thank God. So.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, Contrelle.
Yes.
And for those of you just tuning in, we are on the line right now with author Contrelle Wright out of Chicago, Illinois, and we're talking to him about his book that he wrote today. And Contrelle, I want to ask you about Chapter 5, the final chapter, The Becoming of a Man.
Yes.
And that really, I mean, in its own right, is probably the most important chapter in my opinion. I know when I was reading it, it seemed like the book really began to come together. It all kind of came together in Chapter 5. So what can you tell the listeners about Chapter 5, The Becoming of a Man?
The Becoming of a Man is about my life. And I want people to understand, when you read this chapter, that's me. That's the real me. Emotional man, sensitive man. How I turned to being someone that I'm not because of a woman I was hurt by. And I became a dog. I started treating females. And it was hurting me because I know I'm the type of person, I love making people happy. I was a pretty boy. I like making people laugh. So when I started damaging females and doing this and doing that, I was really killing myself. And the woman I'm with now, about to be 7 years, she always loved me for me. I didn't have to act like I had it, got money, or be someone I'm not. She always loved me the way I am. So, ladies, it is nothing like dating a man in his own skin, but he's comfortable, because you got to learn how to bring out the best out of each other, and she brought out the best from me, and that's why we still standing strong right now. About to be 7 years this year.
Wow, that's great. And you know what's kind of coincidental is me and my significant other, we've been together for 7 years as well. Actually, yeah, next month's gonna be 7 years.
Yes, and it's crazy because, her birthday, November 11th. We've been dating since she was 17 years old. She's about to be 24, and our anniversary is 17. She's November the 17th.
Wow.
6 days after her birthday.
How great is that, man?
Yeah, so like I say, when you're in a relationship, you got to make sacrifice. You got to make a sacrifice. The other person got to sacrifice. You got to be a goal. You have to be on the same page. If you're not on the same page, and one of the things most men won't look for a woman, trust, loyalty. If we don't have that, we don't have nothing.
Mm.
And you know what, Chris? And out of every woman I dated, out of my whole life, I've been all around the world. This is the only woman I ever trust in my life. When she go outside, I don't even call her. I don't even have to call her. My insecurity don't. Every man have insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Every man do, especially when his feelings get involved. And this is the only woman I ever trust out of my whole life.
Wow. Now, where can people buy the book? How to Keep Your Man Happy?
Thursday, it will be dropping on Amazon.
So September 11th, which is today, it's dropping today?
Yes, it will be dropping today, September 11th.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And it's going to be on Amazon?
Yes, it will be on Amazon. You can download it as a Kindle, and I want everybody to support me. This is a great book. And I felt like, when Steve Harvey did it, I know he did an excellent job. But there's some things I feel like he sugarcoated, in the book. He didn't really tell it. But my book is real.
Well, there was a reason. There was a reason why all the women loved him afterwards. The men weren't telling him how great he was. It was the women telling him how great he was.
Oh yeah, see, and that's what I say. So I want the men to read this book too, because it's real, and I want all the ladies to. It's going to be a big difference when you read my book and when you read Steve Harvey's book. You're going to see a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, September the 25th, I'll be in New York on another radio station. September the 15th, my book will be airing in Spain.
Wow.
Canada, Sweden, and U.S. So, like I say, everybody gonna be able to relate to this book because everybody like real.
Beautiful.
When you like real, and I want all the women to know when you read this book, yes, it's gonna make you feel some type of way, but just understand that somebody loves you, someone cares for you, and somebody just wants you to do better.
Beautiful. Now, are you planning on writing a second book, either a part 2 or a different topic, or?
You know what? A lady asked for a part 2 already, but if I do, I got another book, and this book was going to be this book for the ladies, and it's a secret, and it's going to be more powerful, because a lot of women feel like, okay, so why you write a book? Okay, we understand it, so why you do it for the ladies? And the reason why I wrote this book, so women can have a better understanding of us as men, and I want them to know it's not. I don't want you to think it's just a one-way street. No, it's a two-way street. It's always, both ways. I want you to think that it's just a one-way street. No, it's two ways. So do not judge the book by its cover, because, like I say it again, it's not about woman bashing. I'm not telling you to do crazy things. This book is just real life. And one thing about us, Chris, men and women, we got to check ourselves. We got to correct ourselves. If we don't, we're going to be by ourselves.
True. Great advice, man. Now, I know you're on Twitter. What's the best way for people to contact you?
Pretty Boy Trell. Everything in lowercase. PrettyBoyTrelle on Twitter. You can follow me on Facebook. I just started my Facebook. Contrelle Wright. Trelle Wright. WRIGHT. And you also can follow me on Instagram. The title of my book, How_to_keep_a_man_happy. And
Beautiful.
like I say, I want to thank you, Chris. I want to thank your whole production for even giving me a chance to talk on your radio station to get my book out. I want to thank God because God gave me the wisdom, the power to write this book. And I want to thank my whole support team, especially my editor, George. He did an awesome job on my book. he stepped it up a notch.
Great. Well, that's awesome, man. Contrelle Wright, Chicago, Illinois author, How to Keep a Man Happy. Thank you very much for coming on Psych Word Radio Show. And
I thank you. I thank y'all. I thank
absolutely.
all of y'all.
And all the listeners, his book drops today, Thursday, September 11th,
Yes.
2014, on Amazon. Check it out right now. Thank you very much, Contrelle.